Ready? Okay. So, next one. This is called PDO Threads. Now, there's been a lot of questions about these, and this is one of the other services that we want to roll out at the Center PC. We're going to roll it out right here, and we're going to roll it out along with the sunshine that just showed up. So, PDO Threads. PDO is Polydioxanone. It's just an acronym for a suture material. This suture material is dissolvable, and it dissolves in about 6 months. PDO threading really is not new. We started doing this about 10 years ago. It started off and it evolved like everything evolves. They started out using non-dissolvable threads, which became problematic. Now, this procedure has been refined. And for us, it occupies that space between what we can do with external or any kind of skin tightening modality that we have, and then a surgical removal of skin. There's that gap in there that is really, really hard to fill. So what we do is we insert these threads under the dermis. Some of them are barbed. We can move the skin around a little bit. Some of them are smooth, and we're going to demonstrate those for you today. It's a local procedure. It's done under a local anesthetic. And this is our model today, and we've prepped her a little bit. So by prepping her, we've done a little bit of an evaluation. We've talked to her about what her goals are. And then we've put some marks on her face to kind of help us plan where we're going to put the threads. These marks are designed to show us where we're going to lift. And that's what we're going to do with these threads. There's a little bit of a lift. You get about 1 centimeter, which we normally won't get. Now what Kelly's doing is she's numbed that area up and she's put a needle in there. That's an 18-gauge needle. It's just a hole. It's making a pilot hole for this thread. The threads come in a little bit of a blunt needle. They're long. It looks ominous, but it's not. And the thread is a barbed thread that's in that needle. We're going to insert that needle through that small hole along these red lines. They will grab the tissue, we'll engage them, and we'll elevate the tissue to pull it. These get put right in underneath the skin, and they get advanced down. And Kelly will find the right plane right under the skin, and once they do, they kind of slowly go in underneath the skin. There can be a little bit of a bleeding at the puncture site, but usually not terrible. So once it pops through like that, she's going to advance it, right? And it goes in pretty easily. You can see she's just using a little finger pressure, kind of draping the skin. She's feeling where the needle's going. And then once it's in that plane, it's very comfortable. Now there could be a little bit of a twang or a twinge when we get towards the end, down by the nasolabial folds, but that's really all there is to it. And then she pulls it out. Now what you're going to see is this thread coming out, but watch. We're going to engage that tissue with a thread, and then you can pull. And we get that pull with the thread. Now, one thread's obviously not going to do it. So we're going to insert a couple threads, but the idea there is that we're going to move Anissa's cheek mass and skin up. It's not going to take the place of a facelift, but it's certainly going to give her a nice lift. It's going to help with her cheek position. It's going to help with that nice apple over the malar eminence. And it's going to help with her nasolabial fold. As you can see when I pull, this one's a lower one, so I'm helping with her jowl area. It pulls it right up and gets rid of the jowls. Typically, we can put 3, 4, 5 threads in a cheek, depending upon how heavy things are. We can put them in the neck to help with a little bit of the laxity to the neck. Again, it's not going to take the place of a facelift, but it definitely can improve and help smooth those things out. We're going to go a little slow this evening so you can watch, but typically those 6 threads in Anissa's face will take us about 15 minutes. It's done in our procedure room under local anesthetic, and you go out and you go home. There are some post-operative instructions. We ask you not to engage in any heavy exercising for about 7 to 10 days. We give you instructions. Obviously, these are barbs. We're going to push, and we're going to show you this, but we give you post-operative instructions. But once these are in, we're going to be able to then engage all the barbs and then push everything up. We'll cut the threads. They stay under the skin. You cannot feel them. And they're very comfortable going in. So now we've got a second thread in. And you can see now we're starting to get, with the pull of both threads, look at that pull of the skin. And then with the third thread here, we're going to get that pull, and then we're going to show you the difference between the threaded side and the non-threaded side. It's all done through the same entry wound. We put a little bit of glue there, and we're done. We can do brows. We make a little tiny puncture wound here. We can do middle, central. We can shape your brow with this. How long do they last? They last 2 to 3 years. But they dissolve. And as they dissolve, they induce collagen. So where that thread was is now a strand of collagen. So even though you may need a touch-up in 2 or 3 years, you can see it's not hard to do. And second of all, over time, you will not need touch-ups because the collagen will have been reformed and act as a structure to hold the tissue where we want it to be. So we've got all three there. Now what Kelly is doing is engaging the threads. So she's pulling these up, and as we do that, we can feel, click, 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 we can feel those barbs engaging. And once we know that all of those barbs have engaged, we cut the suture, which we didn't bring. But what I want you to show you is straight on the difference now between Anissa's cheek here and the positioning here. Did we not bring it? We'll just do this side. So again, she's going to make a pilot hole. So what we'll do is we'll get ready, we'll measure, and a lot of this measuring is done pre-placement. Pilot hole. It goes in just under the dermis. We always talk to the patient while we're doing it. Do you feel anything bad? Because we know if this does not cause pain as we advance this needle. I know it looks like it should. If it starts to become painful or twingy, we know we're not in the right plane. We know we're going to adjust, and we'll fix that. So she winced a little bit, so she felt it, and she'll tell us. So again, there it is. You can see the pull here. We typically get about a centimeter of a pull. It's about a little over a quarter of an inch. We can get that pull. So if you go in the mirror and you say, okay, that looks great and that does what I want it to do, that's fantastic. If you're like pulling it up and you've got these wrinkles, a bunch of wrinkles and skin and everything like I do, maybe not. Maybe I'll need a facelift. But this certainly occupies that space in between there. And you can't feel the threads, and they're very smooth. You don't know they're there. Now, when you walk out, you'll feel a little tight. You'll feel them when you talk. So we ask you not to do any weird facial movements over the next couple of days. Don't go in the mirror and see how things look, because it won't look good after, and it won't feel good because it's going to feel tight. We ask that when you wash your face, you wash in an upward direction, because if you wash in a downward direction, you'll disengage those barbs, and then we'll have to put another one in. So now we got two of them on the left side. Very nice. Looks beautiful. Good. Got one more to go, and we're going slow, okay? Like I said, typically this should take about 15 minutes. And they go right in. Once that plane, now the only time it's a little rougher if you've had a lot of injectables, you've had a lot of filler material, that other stuff done to your face, it's a little bit, it doesn't go in quite as smooth, but still very, very nicely. So now we've got all three threads in there. Kelly's going to engage the threads and then just kind of lift up the tissue. And that's what she's doing now. And as the patient laying there, you can kind of hear it and feel the little clicks as she engages the threads. So now, look how nice her cheeks look. No jowling at all. So then, what we'll do with these is basically get rid of them. So we pull up and down. Careful not to clip the skin. I won't clip your skin, I promise. She has a little pucker there, and that goes away. Boom. Can't even see it. Now we also have smooth threads. They're not barbed. They come in straight monofilaments and also coils. The coils help volumize. A lot of times you have those marionette lines, and you have a thin face and you don't like the marionette lines, and we go and we want to put filler material in there. And the filler sometimes makes you look heavy down there. It makes you have like those little marbles looking things down here. We can thread them and it plumps them very nicely. Looks good. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate a little bit of the coils. So, I got it. So these are tiny. No, I'm just going to do one, and then I'm going to talk. These are here. These are models? Okay. So, these are tiny little needles. They look almost like acupuncture needles. But they have this little thread coiled around them. I don't know if you won't be able to see it too much in a monitor. But it's really nice. And they go in so easy because I'm just going to go right into her nasolabial fold, little bee sting, and then they just slide in. I'll just do one more. And we twist and out. And so we're just going to just march down with a couple of coils. That's how easy they go. And they're really not tender at all. Twist, out. So, and then sometimes, we'll do, depending upon, go ahead. So I put 2 coils in her nasolabial fold. And the interesting thing is you'll see a little improvement, but over the next 2 to 3 weeks, those are going to start to dissolve and you'll start to see that collagen development. And that's where you really see the improvement. And they slide right in. They're pretty easy. Now the coiled ones actually help us, they're better for more volume. So one of those coils do it about 3 or 4 monos will do it. And I'll show you what I mean by a mono. So again, these are little tiny things. Is that a third one? So the monos are interesting because what we can do then is crosshatch this little volume area down here. Put them about half a centimeter apart. Now that looks gross, right? But we do that so we can see where we're putting them. Out they come, and you can't feel those. And then we want to crosshatch. So we went this way. Now we're going to go this way. other side. Yeah. I think we should do the other side, don't you, Anissa?
I think so.
Yeah. So we're just doing a couple here to demonstrate it. Sometimes, depending on the areas that we're trying to do, we can actually put quite a number of threads in there, depending on what we're trying to achieve. We would talk to you about that ahead of time when we talk to you about the pricing. Now, the pricing you're going to see tonight is based on what the average amount of threads are going to be, and we're pretty close to that. But there are going to be times, and we'll tell you that ahead of time, that you may need some extra threads, or maybe, you know, we'll think about this, but if we're going to do this, maybe we want to bring your eyebrows up, or something like that. So we can talk about that. But it works out very, very nicely. Twist out, twist out. See, we're teaching you guys how to do this. You're all going to run home and do it. Sometimes you can get a little bruise at the entry site, little dot, little arnica, little vitamin K is going to help that. We put a little gel bandage or a little Band-Aid right there. You wear that for about an hour or two. That hole closes up. You're good. You can shower. We're happy to offer this at the Center PC. This really fills a hole for us. This is very popular across the nation, and it's becoming more and more popular. We're happy to offer this to this community because I think it's a really, really good way to achieve. Now, like everything else, you may or may not be a candidate for it, but that would be something that you can talk to our staff about. You can talk to me. You can talk to Kelly about it. Glad to talk to you about it. It's a nice procedure. You can't be allergic to the threads. They're non-allergenic. You know, like anything else, if you have an autoimmune disease or you have some sort of collagen disease where or autoimmune disease or anything like that, we're going to talk to you about that, and that's probably not something you're going to want to enter into. But otherwise, it's a very, very good option. So, no worse for the wear. We even have the red marks off of her almost. We'll get the rest of those. What else do you want us to do? But you know, when she smiles, look at that nice up there, because we got that cheek up a little bit. So in someone like her, and Anissa, I mean, you could probably put some filler here a little bit, but to really fill that out there, I don't want to give her marbles down here. She's got a really, really nice shape to her face, and that just helps that heart-shaped face. So it really works out nicely. I think we're done, aren't we? Yeah, so we're just going to wash her off with a little saline solution right now, and we'll be around to talk to you about it if you want to talk to us about the PDO threading. Thank you.